We are excited to have a meaningful conversation around the theme Choose Tough, where our esteemed panelists will share their stories of perseverance and resilience. So I'm going to pass it over to our moderator, who's going to introduce herself.
Well, before we introduce ourselves, Rachel will give us some housekeeping.
Sorry. So firstly, our panel discussion is going to take about 1 hour, and it's going to be followed by 25 minutes of Q&A. What we're asking is that you actively participate in the Q&A part, which is the second half, the 25 minutes at the end, where you'll have an opportunity to ask questions of our panelists. There are microphones on both sides of the church building, so that way you can just stand in line and ask your questions. Feel free to walk up to the microphones to ask your questions. When it's your turn, kindly state your name and then ask your question clearly. While Michelle is asking the panelist discussions, we kind of ask that you keep your questions till the end, as there's some points that we want to really get across and that Michelle is going to actually touch upon. So if there's any other questions before we begin, no, so I'm going to hand it right back over to our moderator.
Thank you, Rachel. And again, thanks everyone and good afternoon for joining us for our panel discussion today on the theme of Choose Tough. Again, my name is Michelle and I'll be moderating this afternoon. We have an amazing panel of distinguished individuals here with us and who will be sharing their stories on perseverance and resilience. So I'll go ahead and pass the mic so everyone can introduce themselves. We'll start with Kwame.
Oh, hi, everybody. Hello, everybody. I'm Kwame. Hi, everybody. I'm Kwame. Kwame Abrah. I'm 33 years old. I am a SME, which is a subject matter expert at Food Chain ID, which is a company that offers services for food companies, technological testing, stuff like that. So I work on a food fraud database. Yeah, I went to University of Maryland, bachelor's degree. Go Terps. I see a couple of Terps in here. Bachelor's degree in food science, nutrition food science, with a concentration in food science.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. Good afternoon. Happy Sabbath. My name is Peprah. I'm a cybersecurity engineer at CareFirst. Yay! So a little bit about myself. I'm from Rhode Island. The smallest state in America. I went to University of Rhode Island. I graduated in 2012, so I'm a little bit older. I had my major was applied math, so I'm really good with numbers. I'll tell you that. Is it me? No, it's not. Okay. So after that, I got my master's in cybersecurity from the same university. I moved down here, I got married, and now I'm in cybersecurity, and I'm doing well. Thank you all.
Hello, everybody. Most of you already know me. I'm Audrey. Hi, and good afternoon. I'm Audrey. I am currently a full-time college student studying biology, and I'm also a full-time hair care business owner. I have my own hair care brand called Audie Beauty, which I have had for 5 years now. I'm pretty much of a girly girl. Y'all know me. I'm like Ashley adjacent, so that's that.
Hello, I'm Nancy. I just finished residency in neurosurgery at Hopkins. I was born in Ghana. We came here in 2005. I went to undergrad at Mount St. Mary's. I did chemistry and biochemistry. I didn't take any time off between undergrad and med school. I just went straight through. So med school at Hopkins. I did do some research at Hopkins. So the med school was 5 instead of 4 years. And then residency for 7 years. So it's been a while. Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys for the introduction. So to kick things off, I'd like to ask, or I'd like each of our panelists to well, you guys already introduced yourselves. So now let's go into our first question. So can each of you share a specific story where you faced a significant challenge and chose to take the harder path? And then there's a follow-up question, but we'll start with the first, but I'll say the follow-up. It's what were the circumstances and what made you decide to proceed despite the difficulties? So we will start with Nancy since she ended us on the intros.
I mean, it's a difficult question for me, I think, particularly because a lot of things are hard about choosing medicine. I think a lot of people in medicine and the healthcare professional fields will probably attest to that. I think for me specifically, the challenging aspect would probably be taking a year off in medical school to do research prior to doing my 4th year. It's not something that, we were used to. It's more so, just get straight through med school, do residency, figure it out. But I think for me, I was trying to decide what my path would be and how I will navigate residency, what residency I was going to do in the first place. So I ended up doing that year of research, and it was hard, it was difficult, it was long, but at the end of the day, I had great mentors that helped me that year and helped me decide on what residency I wanted to go to, and also helped me understand a little bit the path ahead. So I think for that reason, that challenge or deciding to take that extra research year helped determine the next steps for me at the end of the day. But if I had to talk about challenge and stuff, we'd probably be here for the next couple of hours. But that's one of the ones that I can really think about.
Thanks, Nancy. Audrey?
A time I faced like a huge challenge was when COVID started, especially. I had started my business in 2019, so exactly like about a year after is when COVID hit. And when COVID hit, a lot of small businesses were actually shutting down, closing, just pausing because just finding resources or even just your regular vendors like had gone out of business or weren't profiting. So everyone had just shut down. I remember one specific instance was I needed like supplies for the bonnets, which were like had become a bestseller out of nowhere after the first anniversary. And I was like, what am I gonna do? You go to Walmart, elastic is done. You look online, people are charging like elastic is so cheap, should be like $3. It's like 50 now for like a small piece. So we're like, ooh, like, is that worth it? I'm gonna lose profit if I continue to go on with this. But I chose the hard path of like, I was like, I'm gonna do it, it's fine. Tough times do not last forever. It's a bad day, not a bad life or whatever. So I went along with it because gaining long-term customers and just a community was more important to me. And that paid off because, now everything's back to normal. I got to like meet more people. I've gained customers. So that's an example.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, after college, I decided to volunteer for 1 year to help young kids in, in the urban area in Rhode Island. I took that year and taught them math, and that got me to see that what I have more than even people who were born in this country. Because these kids will come to school with basically nothing, and they expect us to do more for them. That was challenging to me. And I'm like, hey, this is crazy. How do we live in the country that we have everything, but you see these young kids who do not have nothing, and yet they're part of this country, and there's nothing being done. On the other side of the same city, you have different kids who has everything. So it's just go by the, how to call it, the zip code. So when you live in this zip code, you get to have this good. When you live this zip code, you get to have this one, and which it wasn't right for me, and it wasn't right to anybody, like, to go through that. So I learned a lot on that. It was really, really challenging. After that, I didn't know what I want to do next because I volunteer. It's just a volunteer thing. It's called City. It's one of the miracle in America. So they pay you stipends. You don't have money. You don't have anything. They just pay you with food to eat, and that's it. So right after that, I didn't know what to do. I had to make a decision. And that decision that I made was to get any type of job, not in my career, because I have applied math. I'm good with math, but I didn't graduate with a secondary degree to become like a full-time teacher in public schools. But what I did was to basically get any type of job. So my first job I got was a valet job. Anyone? No one. People who like cars, like a valet job is pretty good. So any type of car that you've seen run around, I've driven it before. It's like, Aston Martin, Ferrari, all that cars, pretty good. I did that for some time. At the same time, I was just applying and see what type of job I can basically get. And I landed a job in one of the charter schools. And I became a teacher, teaching algebra, financial literacy, and also pre-calculus. And I did that for a while whilst I'm doing the valet. All these were just one thing that, I don't know, I can't sit still. I have to do something. And this was really, at that time, was really challenging for me. I also applied to the one community college over there in Rhode Island, and I went there and I taught them also, I tutored them in math. So I have three things going on at this time. This is the year 2013, 2014. Three things going on. So I wake up early in the morning, get ready for school, get there because their charter school, they start around 9:30 and then they finish early, like 2 p.m. So do that, and then from there, drive to the community college, to anybody, because they have their classes, and they come to me, and to any type of math that you're taking. And then get home, and then sleep the next morning, do the same thing. Over the weekend, after Sabbath, like this, after Sabbath, when the sun comes down, I know my story is a little bit longer, but, it's a story I would like to share with you guys all. So after Sabbath, I will go in and do the valet too for more money in my pocket. So it's just at that time, everything was just challenging, but I never sat down to let anything overcome me. I just went for it and I did it. I have a degree, but I wasn't using the degree that I went to school for.
Thanks, Kwame.
School was a challenge. College was a challenge. College was definitely a challenge. I came in undecided, and then I thought I was going to be a doctor. Well, actually, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was I like kids. I like helping people, so let me be a doctor. So then I had to pick a degree, blah, blah, blah. So I did nutrition because I like food as well. If you couldn't tell, I like food, and and then also met the pre-med courses. So I let me do that. So then I had a great last semester of my freshman year. Started my sophomore year. I was taking Chem 2. And I was taking Chem Bio, Calc 2. I was taking a whole bunch of classes I shouldn't have been taking, but I needed to take, and it was one of the worst semesters of my entire life. And that that was a really, really, really challenging time in my life. That was the first time I had like an anxiety attack. And yeah, so it was really crazy because, you know, you want to graduate in 4 years, but then, you know, you're going to class and you keep failing these exams. And you're like, it's the first time you really cross the board, like, yo, what is going on? This is boom, boom, back to back to back to back. So it's like, what am I gonna do? So yeah, that was, I think continuing to be in my major was a huge challenge. And then trying to graduate in 4 years, because, you know, that's what I thought you had to do. You know, not graduating in 4 years was kind of embarrassing. When I came in, you know what I mean? Later on, you know it's not the truth, but when you, like, you know, you have to graduate in 4 years, so that was on my mind, so I had to do whatever I had to do. But yeah, that was the biggest challenge. Well, there was a lot of challenges, but that was, once I started my major, that was like, that's when it started. You know, that's when it started, yeah.
Thank you for those inspiring stories. So now let's talk about what keeps you going through tough times. What kept you motivated during the toughest times? And did you have any sources of inspiration or support systems that helped you through these challenges? So Kwame, we'll start back up with you. Or anyone, if you guys want to go.
Yeah. I'll go first. So I would say my mom and my wife. She's not here, but I'll give kudos to her. So when I say my mom, her story is her story, but I know her story, and I've taken that to be like, you know, if she can go through all things and God can put her where she is right now, there's nothing God cannot do for me. So her story is like her story, but I look at it and I've taken something from it. The other one, like I said, my wife. I moved down here in 2018 before I got married, so probably a couple of months before. I quit my job that I was doing. I didn't have anything down here. I came down here. First person who called me, Dr. Frimpong, because he knew me from CYP, and he linked me to Dr. Nkrumah, and then Dr. Nkrumah linked me to Mr. Ampe. So all these people are like, you know, the IT people, and then from there I talked to Ishmael. So they're all like IT, and then Elder Donyina also, all part of the IT thing. So they were like trying to get me going, like, hey, you can find something. But there was one thing that I was lacking. They called clearance. I'm living in the DMV area, and if you want to do IT, you need something they call clearance, because the government job is down here. And I didn't have that. So it was hard for me to get any type of job in my field, in cybersecurity. But during that time, my wife would go to work. She was also in NBA program. She was doing her master's. So she would go to work, come back, and then go to the MBA program. I'll be home. Being a Santa man, being home. Hey, Obana Nkoye Juma, Emra, now to fear, and all that stuff. You know. It was hard for me. But she came in and never said anything. Oh, you're home the whole time, you didn't do anything. But what she did say, always say that, I know you applied to all this job. Can you show me what you did? And I'll show her and be like, yeah, you'll get a job. Don't worry about it. The bills are covered. Everything is all right. And we have this amount of money in the bank, and there's no worry for you. And I'm like, what? I never had that thing before. It's always I have to go out there, get it, and provide to others. But someone providing for me, that's amazing. So I'll say my mom's story and my wife keeps me going. Amen. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I don't have a wife, so that's a big blessing for you, for anyone who has a wife. Shout out to the wives out there. God bless the husband, the beautiful Ghanaian wives, or non-Ghanaian for those who are in the audience and those who are watching international. Yeah, my family's a big support system. They're always looking out for me. They always got my back. So I really thank God for them. They're very supportive. They don't make me feel bad about my journey. They're very supportive, very prayerful family. So I do appreciate that, and definitely having friends as well who you can go to encourage you. God-fearing friends as well. Both I met some great guys at a university, and then my friends here, Berma, Junior, and the rest of the boys. They're very big supports in my life. So during that journey, definitely my family was definitely number one supporter. And then I can't forget Michelle. Michelle was a year before me. We were in the same major, and every time we would connect, she would definitely give me encouraging words as well. So it was always good having a big sister there who kind of was already there doing it to kind of get me through. So.
What kept me motivated during like tough times was prayer, of course. Sometimes, the going just gets tough and you really just have to pray and go to God with everything. Sometimes it's beyond you. My mom is very supportive. Anything I want to do, she's there. Whether it's the money to help me out or whether it's just, to be encouragement, she's there. I remember like the very first time, you guys know, the fluffy butter was my first product. I was in the kitchen, just trying to like pipe the bottles and all that and put the product in. And she was cooking and she just immediately stopped, came, grabbed it for me. She was like, no, I'm not going to sleep. I'm gonna help you finish it. And even some late nights, like, I feel like I don't know sleep anymore. I'll be up around 2, 3, casually just covered in butter and product, making stuff. And she will refuse to go upstairs. Even if she has to wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 to go to work, she'll be there, she'll help. So that's really supportive. That really supports me, and my sister as well. Everyone who follows me on Instagram knows her as my assistant. She gets dragged along to everything, whether we're going to search to buy stuff wholesale, or we're going to pick up fabric, or we got orders to ship. The post office knows Pearl, so shout out to Pearl. I have really good friends too. I think it's important to really surround yourself with people who support you as well. My friends, luckily, I have a really good circle. They're always willing to help. Y'all know when it's Black Friday season, my house is packed. Everyone is there, willing to help. So I'm really grateful to my friends who are always willing to drop anything and just come and help me. And just this church community also motivates me a lot. I always see I say random aunties, like people you wouldn't expect to come say something, be like, hey, Audrey, when can I get this? Oh, I need help with my hair, I need this. So I really do appreciate this church community, and I've been so blessed to be born within NAGSDA. Since I started, you guys got my back. I remember the first day I launched was, I believe June 9th, 2019. And the first orders that day, it was all people from within the church community. So having a good church community has really just helped me a lot. And so thank you all.
I think I would probably say the same thing that everyone has said. Obviously, first would be my family, my parents. Knowing where we come from and how far we've come, it's hard to not push yourself to do as much as possible so you can give back. My husband who's not here, shout out to all the husbands. My kids, obviously. I think I just dwell on my kids for a second. It's hard to have kids, and some days I want to be alone by myself. You guys know I'm not a big talker, but they don't stop talking. But it's good to come home and experience the joy they have and the energy they have, and they just think the world is theirs. And sometimes I look at them and I feel like we lose a little bit of that as we get older and move through life. But I look at Ruby and you can't tell her anything. She's confident. She does whatever she does, whether you want her to or not. but it's good to see things from a different viewpoint. So I'm always grateful to, have my kids, the church family. I mean, I don't, it'd be hard, kona inyoma tafa. I'll say, one kwa, nas down bedding. I was like, oh, okay, my call. No, I'm just playing. But it's hard to, put into words how much the church has helped us in our journey. One story that I would probably share is, one day during residency, I came to church and I don't know, I think, these days I'm well-fed, but back in the day I wasn't well-fed. And, my friends, they looked at me and they were like, times are tough. And like one day I came to the house and there was like food all over in the house. From Auntie Dorcas made the food, people contributed, and I was like, man, you guys are great. But, they help us during the tough times to push forward. And then for me personally, obviously, my patience and delivering good care for them, also keeps me going.
Thank you, guys. So our next question is, how do you handle setbacks and failures? Can you provide an example of a failure that turned into a learning experience? Audrey, we'll start with you.
Can you state the question one more time?
Yeah. So how do you handle setbacks and failures? That's the first part. And then the follow-up is, can you provide an example of a failure that turned into a learning experience?
I remember one setback that really upset me. It wasn't last year, but 2023 for Audieversary, which is what I call my business anniversary every year, I was so ready to drop the shampoo and conditioner. I immediately tried the sample from my chemist, and it was not given. I was like, oh no. And I think when I tried it, it was a couple months to the anniversary, but I was like, there's no way I'm gonna figure out something in time, because I was also at school in New Jersey, so I don't really have time to get my hands dirty, get in there and figure out formulation and all that. So I just had to forego it, didn't figure it out. But then I got a new chemist, and the next year by my birthday time, actually, there was finally a shampoo I loved as soon as I tried it. So yeah, and with that, I just learned, it's just a delay. It's just a delay, nothing more, It's better to just wait it out. There could be better waiting for you. I'm glad I didn't drop that product, because I would have hated it, So that's one thing it really did teach me, and just patience and appreciating the journey.
Thanks, Audrey. Yeah, well, you can go next.
What's the question again?
So the question is, how do you deal with failure and setbacks? And if you can give an example.
All right, so when Kwame was talking, he started off and said that school was hard. Yes, school is hard. I remember 2007, like I said, I'm older, so 2007, that's when I started college. I went in as Pharm D major. I want to be a pharmacist. Everybody, at that time, everyone wanted to be a pharmacist. And the first chemistry class I took was no for me. I'm like, chemistry? So I took that and it didn't work. So I changed my major from D to electrical engineering. It was fun. I was having fun over there. And then I took 1 or 2 courses. It didn't go well. And I'm like, no, that is not me again. So I changed again to apply math, which I stick to it till I graduated. School is hard for whatever reason, right? Anybody who goes to school knows that school is hard. So when I started, cybersecurity, it became so much easier for me, right? But there was one certification that I wanted to get, which is a CISSP. Anybody who is, cybersecurity needs to, at least if you want to go up there, you need to get that certification. when I was studying for that, it was pretty hard. I failed it the first time. The second time, I failed it. Third time, I failed it. And I'm like, you know what? I need to give up. But I realized that going back to 07, 08, I gave up on Foundry. 09, I gave up on electrical engineering. So anything become harder, it's just like, I'm gonna give up and I'll take the easier route. Because the numbers, math was really my thing. I also minor in physics, so it was really my thing. But the concept behind the, how do you call it, the electrical stuff and the chemistry wasn't my thing, so I just gave up right away. So when it came to the CIS, my certification, basically I said to myself, no, I'm not making the same mistake again. Because I gave up two things at the beginning. I'm not giving up this one because I like what I do. So I went on for the fourth time, and I passed. And now I'm here, and I'm enjoying whatever that comes with it. So yeah, that's my story on that.
Thanks, yo.
Yeah, my major was a setback. It was a big setback. Like, yeah, the semester before I had a 4.0, first time ever. So I got in, I was feeling real good going into the next semester. I'm finally doing my major. Then it gets to chemistry. It gets to a point where I think I'm gonna fail the class. So it's either I drop the class, which I've never done before, or I just like try it out to see if I end up talking to the professor, and he's like, oh yeah, I think you can do it. I think you can do it. I think you do it. Yeah, they all said. Then so I was like, okay, all right, well. And then I ended up not passing the class, at least what I needed for my major, right? So then I'm like, now it's like first time ever. So you're dealing with this, like, what am I gonna do? I'm trying to still trying to graduate in 4 years. So now it's like, I have to. I think at that time I didn't have the tools to be able to deal with the stress and anxiety that I do now. But back then, the thing that motivated me was, I just have to graduate. I gotta do what I have to do. Basically, that was my mindset. I have to do what I have to do. So whatever I need to do to get to where I want to get to, I'm just gonna do it. So I ended up taking a class in the spring. I passed, but then I had to take summer school because I'm on the track. I'm already behind, so now I have to take summer school. And then I had to take orgo in the summer with a professor that I didn't like. And so it was really challenging, it was really hard. And I think, obviously the support of my family, but for self-motivation, I guess it was dealing with the stress. It was really, I gotta do what I gotta do. That's what I kept telling myself. Now I'm a little bit better at dealing with those type of things, with anxiety and stress and stuff. I'm still learning different techniques. And I just have to, what I do is I just acknowledge how I feel about it. You know what I mean? You acknowledge your feelings, how you feel, and then you take care of the things you can control and things you can't control. And then what you can control, you do what you have to do to control it. And then what you can't control, you can't control. It is what it is, right? But right now, when I have setbacks and failures, I see it as an opportunity. So you have to change the perspective. You have to see it as an opportunity. Everything we have now is due because of failure. Every single thing, no invention was done on the first try. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure no invention was done on the first try. So you have to fail to succeed. So embracing failure, not going into an activity saying I'm gonna fail, but if I do fail, then this is how I'm gonna take care of it. I'm going to use it as a way to excel, to take what I need to take, the lessons I need to take to better myself.
Nancy, if you can just end us off on that question.
Yeah, no problem. I think probably for me it would be in undergrad. So I when freshman year was when I took organic chemistry, actually, because I did AP chemistry, and I passed out of general chemistry, and I didn't really like general chemistry. That was not my forte. I was just happy I passed and I didn't have to take it again. And then I went to organic chemistry. We were doing the classes, the sessions. I was vibing with the sessions. I was like, no problem. And then we took the test, and the first test did not go well. So I went to the professor's office, and I was like, man, this is not great. I know I passed out of Gen Chem. I'm still a freshman. Maybe I should just go back and take Gen Chem and come back and do organic chemistry again. And, for that setback, I probably could have just gone back to Gen Chem, even though it would have been a struggle, and just come back. But the thing that helped me is I had someone that kind of gave me advice, and I was able to take that advice and implement it. And I think that's what kind of turned things around, because I didn't know how things were supposed to work in that class, or how to study for the test, or what to expect. And the professor kind of laid it all out to me. And that was probably one of my first learning points in undergrad was, I didn't have to know how to do everything. I just had to know who to ask to help me if I needed the help. And she kind of set that path for me at the end of the day. Thankfully, we could drop one test out of the whole semester, so that test had to go. But I'm grateful that I had that opportunity to have someone tell me, hey, I know you can do it. You just have to figure out what to do, instead of just telling me that, hey, you probably suck and you should do something else. So I think that was very helpful.
Thanks. I think Nancy hit something on the head. I think in life, in academics career, knowing who to ask the right questions to, or just knowing who to ask questions to is, it's definitely a valuable tool or asset. So now let's reflect on the long-term impacts of choosing the tough paths. So how was choosing the hard path impacted, or how has choosing the hard path impacted your life and career in the long term?
You can start. I think I'll answer this in like two different ways. One, when you say choose tough, you're supposed to, at the end of the day, you're supposed to talk about their positive, but, I'll be a little bit more realistic. Choosing to do medicine you're growing up and you're like, oh, marry a doctor, and you think it's like, or whatever. Anyway, but it's a very long path. Like, I graduated from high school in 2008. And then I graduated from college in 2012. And then from med school in 2017. And now it's 2024. And, I've had, residency is a job. You're going to work, you're doing whatever. But I haven't had like a job, if that makes sense. Like when people talk about, oh, my retirement, oh, my savings, oh, my way. Like, that's not the kind of life that me and my husband can have until the year of the Lord, 2024. So when you have to, I'm just saying all of that to say, when you choose tough, at the end of the day, sure, we're gonna have a good job, we're gonna be okay, we're gonna catch up at some point, we're gonna pay off our student loans, whatever it is. But you really have to be careful about why you decide to choose what you choose. Because then if you don't know, and if there isn't anything that's kind of pushing you along, at some point you're gonna crash. And it doesn't mean that you can't do it. It doesn't mean that you're bad or terrible or whatever. It's just that you need something to kind of keep you going. And when that thing is not there, it makes it hard to make certain decisions. That's like the more realistic aspect of choosing tough. Now, obviously, I chose tough. I'm here. I'm gonna have the opportunity to impact patients positively. I'm gonna have an opportunity to help my community. And that's all very good things that I'm grateful to have the opportunity to do. But I just wanted to mention that you just have to be very careful about why you choose certain things and what you decide to do. But with that said, My path was very straightforward. There wasn't a lot of curves to it. But if there has to be curves, it's fine. Like at the end of the day, you have to think about your entire life trajectory. It's been a long time, but I'm still 34. Like, God willing, I'll probably live for like another 50, 60 years. So if even at this time today, I decided that, this is not for me and I wanted to do something different, I have to be okay with also choosing something different and pursuing that and seeing how that goes for me. Because, at the end of the day, you're the one living your life and it doesn't matter. It's not, it's not the auntie or the uncle who tells you have to do, medicine or pharmacy or, God knows what else, or lawyer or an engineer that's gonna live your life for you. So, long thing to say at the end of the day, it's okay to choose tough. It's okay to choose something. And then tough might look different from different people, but at the end of the day, it's just have a good reason for doing what you're doing, because you're gonna be the one living that struggle. And if it's not coming from you, then it's kind of tough to keep going at the end of the day.
Thanks. Audrey?
Could you ask the question one more time?
Yeah, so the question was, sorry, let me just go back. So how has choosing the hard path impacted your life and career in the long term?
So I'll also answer this in like two ways, like Nancy said. So I see myself as like two people. I'm a student and I'm a business owner. So as a student, I chose a STEM major. So as you're hearing from all of our panelists, it's very hard. Chemistry itself is a huge beast, but just sticking it through and pushing myself to go ahead and complete it it's really taught me a lot. It's taught me how to deal with challenges. It's taught me just how to not run away from challenges as well, and to just go through it. Nancy was talking earlier about, just like asking the right people questions. In the past year, I have finally, I feel like, found my footing in like the resources of like where I need to go, the right classmates I need to like ask things. I used to always say, oh my gosh, like there's certain people in my chemistry classes who like everything just comes to them so easy. And then I had an enlightening idea. I was like, why don't I just start talking to them? So now, like every day of school, like especially when exam season or something's coming up, we'll be on FaceTime like 3 hours, no joke, going through every single question. And it's so nice to see how like the question I would find so tough, like they answer like so easy. They're like, Audrey, this, and this is as simple as that. To the point that I was like, oh, sorry, you guys are smart. But to the point that like it makes me start to realize like it might seem tough, but it's not tough. Like when they break it down is so simple. Like I was struggling so hard in physics, especially. At the end of it, it was light work because of like the way they would break stuff down. It's like, oh, like the stuff, it's intimidating. It is intimidating. But when you know how to use your resources, I'm not gonna say it becomes easy, but it's definitely doable. So with the STEM major, I've just really learned how to like learn as well and just go through challenges. Being a business owner, I always say one of the best things that has like happened to me through that is just the people I have met. Brittany and Pro always say I know everybody, and I know everybody now, and it's so cool. I've met like so many people. I go places and people recognize me, which is like kind of weird. I make all these random friends, and it's so cool. Like I've got to meet so many people, and I feel like that's something that will like stick with me forever. Like, all these friends I've made. I always say I have like internet friends. I'll be telling stories and people are like, who's that? First of all, how do you know that? Like I'm talking from little kids to like really, like I have grandma besties on Instagram. Like they'll hit me up like, hey sweetie, I saw you came to Texas. I live in Texas. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But it's just so nice. Yeah, like one of my grandma best friends, her daughter married last month, and she was like, we would send you an invitation. I was like, oh, don't worry, save it for someone who might actually be able to come. So that's like one of the things I do really love about business. And I think I'm social in general. So I think it has kind of like, sharpened me. I've learned how to be professional. I've learned how to like deal with people. People can be very something. So yeah, I feel like I've just gained so many skills. Like, going through the STEM major and being a business owner, I've just learned a whole lot these past 5 years.
Oh, amen. Yeah, physics is still hard for me, so. Those are one of the classes I had to drop or failed. I can't remember. But yeah, I would say I think those extra 2 years that I did 6 years, y'all. I did 6 years. Those extra 2 years were a big blessing for me. And I don't think I would have experienced certain things that I experienced if I chose to completely drop my major or choose a easier path, I guess an easier major. And obviously the job that I have now, I wouldn't have had because when I got the job, it was like my supervisor had come in 6 months before I came in. So it was a brand new thing. And if I had graduated 2 years early, I would have never had this job. Obviously, I could have had another job, but through this job, I met people that I really do. One of my best friends, I met him in working at this job as well. So those are the type of blessings and my experiences at College Park the last 2 years. I don't think I would trade it for graduating in 4 years. So, when you look back at things and you start to see how everything transpired and all the difficult times and see where you are now, then you definitely learn to appreciate the things you went through. So it's been a blessing.
Amen to that. Amen. Just like Nancy said, basically, every single decision that you make has consequences that comes with it, whether good or bad. Make sure that if you make a decision, stick with it. Take the good part, spin it around, and make sure that it works for you. The reason I'm saying that is because when I was in a program for, City Year, the volunteer group, I had a mentor. The mentor was telling me, hey, you're good with math. Try something they call actuarial science. Actuary. You guys know actuary? Yes. So those are the people who are behind let me explain a little bit. So actuary people who are behind insurance premium. They do the calculations to let you know that, hey, this is what's going to happen in the future, so you have to charge more, and you have to do this. And basically, it's pure numbers. And so the guy was talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, that's really good. Let me try to do that. Guess what? They have 7 types of exams. So the first one is P1, and you go to P2, like Ghana school. We call P1, call P2, P3, and then you go on to the next one. So I took the first exam. The exam is 25 questions, 3 hours. 25 questions, 3 hours. I took the first exam, I sat down, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. I also still went back, I studied hard, and I took the first one. I took it again, it didn't go good. And I'm like, this is not me. Because I need to get to the 7th exam to be an actuary. And now I'm struggling with the first one. Nah, that's not me. So I realized that that's not me. So when you're making a decision and you know it's not going good at first, you can try one or twice. If it doesn't go that way, just sit back, relax, and pray, and think about what can you do next. Rather than continue, I'm just going to hit on it, one day it's going to open. No, it doesn't work that way. So, like I said, every decision has a consequences, and it comes good or bad. Spin it around for your own benefit.
Thank you, panelists. So now we're going to open the floor for questions from the audience. So we have the mics on the floor. So please, if you have any questions, just approach the mic, state your name and your question. Don't all get up at once. Thanks, all.
Hi. Thank you all once again for sharing your story. My name is Oscar, by the way. I appreciate y'all for sharing the experiences, the failures, because I think most of the time when we have these kind of programs, we're always quick to share our successes, but going through these failures, like that's actually what builds you up. My question though is, now we live in a world where everything, I think Pastor also mentioned that, we're looking for the instant gratification. Everyone is showing off, whatever that they have on the social medias, well, not medias, media, and everything else that's going on. How do you stay focused going through, these tough times when, you can actually see everyone around you kind of like, or showing that they're doing well? How do you stay focused through that? If y'all could help us.
Oh, that's a great question. I remember when I graduated college, I thought I was gonna get a job like the next month. I was like, I'm gonna take a month off, and then I'm gonna just get a job because I have a nutrition degree. I have a food degree. There's food everywhere. I'll just get one of these food jobs. And then I didn't have a job for 6 months. And I was eating, and I was depressed, and I was seeing people, social media, Instagram, people with their jobs, and they're taking their vacations, and then school started, and people were going back to school, and like, imagine you go to school for what, you've been going to school since kindergarten. It's the first time you haven't gone back to school, so it's weird. So everybody's living their life, and I'm sitting there, I don't even have money for gas, okay, so I can't go nowhere, all right, okay. So, you gotta, I think what Pastor was saying as well this morning about your purpose. So I didn't really know my purpose at that time, so maybe that's not a good example. But I would say if I was to tell myself back then, I would say, yeah, knowing your purpose, being determined. I was determined I was gonna get a job. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get one, having people who support you as well to stay focused and keep you motivated. Audrey, I think Audrey helped me get a job at at the community college, and that kind of gave me some motivation. At least I'm working now. You feel like you want to start life, and you haven't started life until you start working and you start doing all this stuff, and you've seen everybody living their life. You got to stay focused on yourself and what you want in life, and live, create a life for yourself. If I'm worried about what he's doing, if I'm worried about what she's doing, I'm not really living for myself or whoever I decide to live for. So you just got to take it one day at a time. You got to find things that matter the most to you and are important to you, and things that are worth living for. Like, I have a list on my phone of things that are worth living for. You know what I mean? And they could be the smallest things, like being around people that I care about. And sometimes you have to look at those things when you're down and you're depressed. And these are the things that really matter to kind of keep you in perspective, keep you focused. Yeah.
I would say just put the phone away. No TikTok, no Instagram, no WhatsApp. Just put them away and just relax and focus on things that you need to do for yourself to better yourself. Because people are living a fake life out there. So fake that they go vacation every single day. Like, what kind of job do you do to go on vacation every single day? It doesn't work like that. They are not living their real life, they're living the fake life. So don't let someone's fake life be your life. You take your own and make your own decision and just move along with it. Rather than looking at TikTok, Instagram, you can be a millionaire by waking up and washing your face and you'll be all right, those kind of things. They're all fake. Nothing works like that. These are real stories that we are sitting here talking about that. These are the struggles that you need to go through to get where you are, where you want to get to. Fake life is out there. Just ignore it.
How I stay focused in the midst of the age of social media. Honestly, I know he said put your phone away. I think sometimes it's hard. Another thing you can do, honestly, you have to curate your feed as well. Follow the people that you want to follow. Unfollow people, who make you feel some type of way. Like, I know I follow a lot of, people I look up to. Like a lot of doctors, a lot of business owners, some are my age, younger. For me, honestly, when I see their everlasting vacations, sometimes I'm inspired. I'm like, maybe one day, I'll get to enjoy like that. But I really just have to remind myself, like, you're on your path. God's time is always right, So even though you might see someone doing better, doing bigger, maybe someone who even started after you, and it's like, everything just seems like, it's good. It's working out for them perfectly. And, you're still working hard. Like, God, are you not hearing me? He's hearing you. And he knows at the right time to grant you what he needs to grant you. So just focus on you and your path, and all will be right.
I think I'll echo what my colleagues have said here. It's, you have to focus on what you want at the end of the day. And let that motivate you, because it's easy to be distracted. So I get distracted and I see those things too, but sometimes, like Audrey said, you use it as inspiration. You just kind of bookmark it and you're like, yeah, next vacation for me in 10 years. That's gonna be me. But you just kind of take some things with a grain of salt, like Yao said as well, and keep it pushing.
Thanks, panelists. Any more audience questions? Feel free.
Hello, everyone. So I have a question. So Kwame spoke earlier about, starting his kind of educational journey and kind of failing and stuff. And that kind of just reminded me of my own kind of personal journey and my story too, when I thought I was gonna be an anesthesiologist. Can you guys imagine? So I thought I was gonna be someone's doctor. I started at Washington Adventist as a bio major. Kwame shared it and it was just taking me back. And I did my first chem and bio classes. The first quarter grades came and they were D's and C's. And I was like, whoa, So that quickly had me kind of shift my hindsight. And I could have chose tough and stuck through, but I also feel like God had another calling on my life. So that's why I come to ask you, was there ever a moment in you guys' journey or your path where you felt like you might have to pivot or you might have to change your hindsight? And what advice would you give if that might be a place some people are at, that they feel like they're trying to choose tough, but they might have to pivot or change their mindset?
I definitely had to pivot, y'all. I was nutrition, but I started nutrition, but I didn't end nutrition. I became food science. You fail enough classes to where you have to take it a third time, and you're like, and now you need special permission to take that class, and you're like, man, okay. And you're like, nah, you know what? Yeah, I don't know, but you still gonna try and take it, and then I don't know how, but luckily I talked to Michelle, and Michelle was like, oh, there's a food science major. I was like, what are you talking about, really? So I switched to food science because, actually I stopped the medical doctor dream. I had to pivot from that. Okay, I had to pivot from that. Like, I had to pivot. And I was okay with it. You know what I mean? I was okay with it. I'm just gonna find something else that I like doing. Nutrition was cool. And then when I switched to food science, I was even better because it was more application. And I think it's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay. You don't have to choose. I think every choice we make in life, there's difficulties. There's things that nothing's ever easy. So everything will have its own challenges. It's really how you deal with it. And it's okay to change. You got to do it for yourself. You know what I mean? You can't think about what your parents are going to say or what your friends are going to think. Or, I mean, if you feel like this is the best decision for me, obviously you seek counsel from people who you trust. You pray about it. And then you make that tough tough decision. It's okay. I say like if life was a highway, some people go 25 miles an hour, some people go 75 miles an hour. Y'all get to the same place. We all get to the same place. And just take your time. There's no pressure. We put more pressure on ourselves to live life, and life is undefined, you know what I mean? Nobody's writing our story for us, other than God, obviously, but we can't, you know, what society tells us where we have to be at this time. Oh, you have to graduate in 4 years. Oh, you have to graduate in 5 years. Oh, you can't change your major here. You can't change your major this, and this, and this. Oh, you have to be in this job for a certain amount of time. No, you have to, like they were saying before, you have to figure out what's most important to you. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to stop. It's okay to reset. Nobody's there to make you feel bad about it. And if they do, then whatever. Well, they don't matter. I mean, they matter. It depends on who you talk about. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, they don't matter. So it's okay. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Shift. And doesn't make you a failure. Embrace failure. Don't fail on purpose, but I'm saying embrace failure. Use it as an opportunity. You know what I mean? It's okay. If we don't fail in life, then we have to fail in life at one thing or another.
I think, I mean, this is more of a comment than probably an answer to Ashley's question. Not because I haven't failed, but because I want to make this comment. I think, you know, coming from an immigrant background, we have a lot of pressure to pick their STEM majors and the hard sciences, and, you know, everyone has to do medicine or be a nurse or do engineering or do PharmD or whatever it is that's out there. I think for us personally, it's so important to open our eyes to see what careers there are out there. And, you know, I have like friends or other physicians where they're like, you know, if I knew this existed, maybe I wouldn't choose the path that I have right now. And I come across that so often. Sure, I chose medicine, I went through it, it was fine, but it's so important for us to know that you can do more than those majors. Like what Audrey is doing, I don't, like, if I had to do it, I mean, people's hair would be falling out. But, I mean, she's doing it, and she's doing it excellently. And, you know, Yao is doing cybersecurity, and I mean, when my computer messes up, I just shut it off and turn it back on and hope for the best. But, I mean, I can't do what he does. I can't do what Kwame does. And you can imagine if everyone was doing the same things, that we'll miss out on, like, so many different talents that people have. This is also more for like the parents as well, is to let kids explore so that, you know, they can get to know what their true interests are earlier rather than, you know, being like feeling like they have to choose one particular path and it not working and then being stressed about it for like some time before they truly determine what to do. Like as parents, we have so much power to help our kids or, you know, younger people choose things that are helpful for them. It doesn't mean that you don't guide them. Obviously, if someone is doing something that is not great, you should tell them that, hey, maybe you should rethink what you're doing. But if people are exploring, I think it's okay for them to explore so that we can have that diversity of like interest that people have, like we can have it come to fruition for them in their particular kind of way, so that we can all learn from each other. We can have a big community of like relevant professionals. Like if you had a question on like, I don't know, consulting or whatever, you can ask Michelle or something like that. If you had a question about, like, you know, Audrey's mentioned like she has a chemist, and I was like, you have a chemist? Like, what are these things? Like, we just need to have more options for people, so people don't feel like they're failing when it's not really what they were meant to do. I think there's a quote that was attributed to Dr. Carson. I don't know if that's true, or he said it about his life, but it's a prior quote. But it has something to do with the fact that like let's say someone was like a fish, right? And you put them on dry land, and you're expecting them to you're expecting them to thrive and progress. And if they don't, you're like, what's wrong with you? The chickens are thriving, the goats are thriving, but like, why are you not thriving? And you don't realize that the reason is because they're just not in the environment where they're supposed to thrive. But if you were to put that fish in water, 100% they're gonna thrive. Like, they're gonna be the best fish that ever fished. But, if you did the same to the chicken, it's the same thing. Like, you have to put people in environments where they're gonna thrive. And that means very different things for very different people. And that's okay. I think that's important for us to understand as well.
I think, Ashley, your question was has there ever been a moment you thought about pivoting, right? For me, school-wise, I know I have a problem. It's a good problem, I think. I'm very stubborn. So I did want to I considered switching, talk to people about switching. I saw all my roommates except 2 switch, so I definitely did think about it when things started getting hard with chem and physics. But I honestly just chose to, stay the route. I hate starting something I don't finish, so that's why I went along with it. But I definitely did think about pivoting, but I just didn't want to have to start over and do everything when I was more than halfway. Business-wise, I guess during COVID, when I saw a lot of businesses I started with closed down and stuff, I never necessarily intended to close or shut down, but I definitely did think about it maybe should I be doing this? Right now is a tough time. But I was I don't think I ever need to shut this down. I'm helping so many people. I have a good thing going. If I ever need to pause, I will pause, but never shut down. So I think it's really just about taking a step back, looking at the issue and seeing what can be done. But I don't think there's ever a wrong choice, you can make. Follow your heart and, definitely just look into it.
In addition, you follow your heart, but you have to make sure that whatever you're choosing, you're gonna be able to pay your bills. You cannot choose something that you will come back to your parents and be like, I need a $50 here for this month. It doesn't work that way. So, we're in 2024, it's easy to change. Anything that you want to do, you go to YouTube. I want to be traveling to go to the Mars. And we're somebody's yeah, I went to Mars and I came back. You can do that. So it's easier to change, but make sure that whatever you're changing to, you are able to pay your bills, not going back to your parents and telling them, I cannot do this, I cannot do this, I can pay my bills. So it's very important we do that.
Bills are relative, y'all, okay? Some people don't have bills, Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay, is there any more audience questions? Okay, after Rach, if there's no more, we'll go to our last question with the panel.
Okay. My question is mainly for Yao and Nancy, just more so with work-life balance. I'm somebody that the future terrifies me, but children terrify me more. So for me, how are you able to grow in your career while having kids at home and feeling confident that's I'm taking care of my kids, but I'm also taking care of myself and being successful personally outside of a family? That's my question. Thanks.
Wow, that's a good question. Life is hard. With kids, it's even harder. I have a Haneba and Eno, young kids. But one thing I would say to myself is that always put yourself first. If you die today, your employers are going to replace you. Right. Real quick. Oh, y'all died. Okay, what's happening? Okay, let's put the job description out there. We're gonna hire a new person. Someone is gonna replace me. So what I do is I work from home. I start work at 9, 5, I'm done. If you send me an email at 4, I'm not gonna reply because I know you need something that's gonna get to 6 p.m. I don't have that time. 9 to 5, that's me. 12, I'm taking my lunch. No meeting at that time. I don't care who you are. I'll tell you I was taking my lunch. I have the luxury to do that. I don't know about Nancy or other people, but I do. Like, don't put me in a certain time. Don't email me a certain time. I'm not going to do that, and that is me. And with that, you can have more time for your kids, enjoy your life with your wife, if you're female, with your husband, and just enjoy life. Like I said, they're going to replace you. They can fire you at any time. So don't take the thing and be like, don't take the job, be like, oh, and then minyame, so I'm not there. They won't be able to function and all this stuff. They will function correctly without you. So that's what I would like to say.
I might have to come back and answer that question after I'm actually in the workforce, because it's just like, med school and residency is a little bit different. For us, we had like a lot of help and support. My parents were helping us out. Our work hours were not ideal. So one part of the work-life balance is to just have support, whatever form it takes. And for me, one thing I'm really looking forward to is being able to outsource as much as possible. So I don't have to do everything, right? I'm gonna get a cleaner, 100%. I'm gonna get someone who's gonna mow that lawn, because I'm not about that lawn life. But I want beautiful lawns, of course. Right. Like convenience. Like the things that you can outsource, you should 100% be outsourcing for that work-life balance. Because the time that you're gonna be spending cleaning or whatever, you could be spending with your kids and doing some kind of activity that you can enjoy. I hope that we'll be able to travel and do more things and be more intentional about setting those boundaries, kind of similar to what Yao was saying. It's a little bit hard when you're in medicine or you're on call or whatever, at least for a physician, because if there's something wrong with the patient, you just have to do what you have to do, and it takes as long as it takes, and it's kind of hard to set very specific boundaries. But, we were intentional in terms of the job that we chose to do for some of those reasons, because I knew that I didn't want to stay in academic medicine, for instance, because that work-life balance is a little bit harder to achieve, especially as an early physician in academic medicine. But, being in a community hospital, we get to deliver great care, but there's a little bit more flexibility in terms of what you're able to do. So at the end of the day, you just have to be intentional about some of these things. Outsource, get support, set boundaries, and enforce those boundaries. Like you can't mentally set the boundary, and if someone asks you to do something, just kind of do it anyway. But if you say, I'm done at X amount of time, or I've blocked off this time to do this, then you should be able to do that. And just to emphasize what Yao said, at the end of the day, if something was to happen to you today, your job would 100% find someone else. They might miss you. They might have like a little card that they might sign and give to your family and stuff like that. But, the people that really matter are gonna be your family. So you can't work so hard that you don't get to enjoy that time with them.
Thank you. So as we near the end of this discussion, I'd like to ask our last question to the panel. So what is the one key takeaway or piece of wisdom you'd like our audience to remember from today's discussion? Kwame, we'll start with you.
Yeah, life is hard, but life is fun. You know what I mean? Take your time. Learn yourself. Every decision you make, like Yao says, consequences. You just got to learn how to deal with the consequences. You can't prepare for everything, but learning how to deal with those difficult times when they come, those tough choices, learning how to walk through those tough choices. You know what I mean? And I don't know the verse, but somewhere in the Bible talking about us to embrace those tough choices because it prepares us. it kind of builds us. So I think what I would say is don't be afraid to fail, and don't be afraid to challenge yourself. And because when we look at it like that, with a positive perspective, when we can change our perspective in those things, then there's nothing we can't do, right? Because if we fail, we know how to deal with it, and we know how to turn it around to make it work for us. You know what I mean? Just take your time, man. Take your time. Life is short. Life is short. Focus on the people you care about. Focus on the people that care about you, and find the joy in life. You know.
I would say, no matter what, stick to the church community that you are in. That's the best social community you can ever get. We are all humans, so whatever it is, someone will say something wrong to you or do something wrong to you, but still, we are still human beings. Stick to it and be around these great people that we have here at church. Don't go out there looking for any other community. This is the best. That's the last thing I will leave for you guys. Thank you.
If there's anything I kind of want you guys to take away from today, is that don't be scared of challenges, and there isn't any one correct path in life. As y'all see, we all do different things. You know, there's so much out there. There's not one right thing you have to do. So whether your mom says, oh, you have to be a lawyer or a doctor, it doesn't have to be. Like, you can be successful doing what you would like to do. And as you can see, everyone up here did something different, but everyone did experience challenges. So don't be scared of challenges. There's always a way out. Pray, pray, pray. Always put God first. You will make it through. It might seem daunting in the moment, but tough times don't last forever.
Yeah, I think, my colleagues have said a lot of things that I would echo. The other thing that they haven't mentioned is also, for those that decide to choose to marry or whatever, you have to also choose your partner wisely. Because I think, Yao mentioned that I'm gonna help him a lot. That person is gonna be a person, and if you don't choose wisely, they could make or destroy you. So you're facing your challenges, you're doing the best that you can, but choose to also surround yourself with people that are gonna help you along the way to achieve your goals. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Round of applause for our panelists. This has been an amazing conversation. So to close us out, if Eugene, you can come give us the closing prayer. Eugene, closing prayer, please.
Elder Eugene.
Let's all rise and share a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, in a special way, we just want to thank you for this day. Just the fact that we are able to come together to celebrate our wins, our graduates, Lord, from those who graduated from pre-K through to their doctorates. We ask that you will continue to lead them as you have equipped them with knowledge at whatever stage. May we use our talents and the knowledge and the wisdom that you've given us to your glorification. For those who are going on to the next stage and for whatever stage they're going, may their lights so shine. We just want to thank you for this afternoon as well, for Kwame, Yao, Audrey, and Nancy, for how they've been so vulnerable to share their experiences with us. In a special way, we pray for every individual who is in this place, everyone who's watching online, that as they've heard their story, if something is spoken to them, may they also be willing to choose tough, and just so that we can, in putting everything together, Lord, We know that the enemy of souls is working hard to stop us from spreading your gospel. But may even the small things that you've given us, may it become big with, may we be able to, just enlarge it. And as we go out at every stage, as we make difficult decisions, may we be able to share your light with others. Bless us and be with us as we continue to go throughout this day, and watch over us throughout the next week ahead of us, so that everything that we do may be to the blessing and glorification of your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
That's my elder.
Wow, Oscar. Your wife is getting on.